Sorry, I gotta stop it after every like 25-30 minutes because if the videos get too long, my dumb ass hasn't learned how to upload them yet. So I'm still an amateur. Bear with me. We'll get there. We'll get there.
So I had this PO that, you know, she wanted to save my life, so she told me, and you know, mind you, I met this lady with, you know, she saw me go through some shit, and oh God, dude, that brings me back. You know, I used to walk around the street with the fucking plug, always a plug in my ass, ready to go.
The keister bunny.
I was ready to go, all the time ready to go. I knew I'm getting locked up. I always had warrants. I walked around with the fucking big old plug and I was ready to go. And this fucking woman, she started making me fucking come to this probation every day. This was my daily routine. I do a big old fucking shot, and I was shooting a little meth back then too, and like I remember staying up all night, and I'd wake up in the morning, and this is how crazy I was. I would drink bleach, drink bleach. Don't know why. Because I remember, oh, if you fucking put bleach in your urine, you're going to test clean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. So I drank it, you know, cap full. I did that in 3 different accounts. I had my little brother and sister's dad used to tell me if you do 2 heaping scoops of baking soda in an 8-ounce glass of water and slam that, it strips your system. So, and that puts you on the shitter for like an hour. Don't get any ideas, guys. I'm lucky to be here.
Did any of this work?
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, I'm sure it'll flush the meth out, the baking soda and water, but the heroin was always the heroin. You can't get it out of your system. It's just there, you know, for the 4 or 5 days it stays in.
Yeah.
And then, so I walk around like just reeking of salt and. She, you know, I kept testing dirty, and she started sending me to detox, and I finally, you know, after the 3rd time going to detox, I convinced, well, you know, the last time I saw the judge, I was like 23 years old, and the judge is like, well, you're gonna max out your county time right now, and I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. And then he goes, if I see you in here again, you know, it was like C-55 fucking violators court in Santa Ana. Oh, he goes, if I see you in here again, you're not gonna get the minimum. You're gonna go for 2 years. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to prison. Yeah. You know, like before I'm like, send me to prison. Yeah. You know. And then as I started going to jail for so like over and over, I'm like, I really don't want to go to prison now.
Yeah, you realize real quick.
I started to get institutionalized, and I'm like, well, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be like that. Yeah. You know? The 3rd time I went to detox, I stayed, and I finished detox, and I convinced them to let me into their program. And I did a 90-day program at the Rock Center, and that really introduced me to a sober life. Yeah. And I was 24, and there I learned a little bit about AA. Now, Alcoholics Anonymous is definitely a big part of my life, and I could sit here and talk about all the stupid shit I've done and where my addiction's taken me and whatnot, but if it wasn't for my addiction and my alcoholism, I wouldn't have a life I do have today. Yeah. And I consider that a blessing.
Absolutely.
And I went through this program Too bad they don't have many programs like that anymore. It taught me how to live. They make you get up, fucking make your bed, go eat, do your chore, and that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Get a sponsor, work the steps.
Yeah, they don't put too much on you. They
No.
just
If
try
there's-
to teach you a little bit of structure so you can become an adult
Right.
or a functioning member of society, you know.
Right. Well, everyone that goes through there is either homeless, parolee, or on probation.
It's funny to this day, like, I have to make my bed. No matter what, every single morning. I don't care if I'm late for work, which I usually am never late for work, but I have to make my bed. Otherwise, my day is just fucked off.
Right. Well, I think jail, prison probably did that to you
Yeah,
too.
probably.
I'm the same way. I learned, thank God for that PO, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Thank God for that PO. She saved my life. No.
I don't think I've ever heard that come out of somebody's mouth. Thank God for that PO.
She saved my life.
Yeah, but usually when you're talking about your PO, you're not talking about.
I didn't hate her whatsoever.
That's awesome.
I never hated her. I
Yeah.
knew I was fucking up.
Yeah.
I never had a resentment towards my PO. I mean, I was a fucking knucklehead, dude. And oh, the system's set up for failure. No, dipshit. The system is set up for you to succeed.
Mhm.
Now, all these people, oh, it's for failure. Yeah, because you keep failing.
Because you can't stay clean.
I couldn't. And as soon as I went to fucking the Rock Center, and as soon as I got some time under my belt, my life was easy.
Was this the first time you got sober?
Yeah.
This wasn't, obviously the.
No,
The last time.
Not the
How long? How
last.
much time did you get then?
22 months. No.
Right before 2 years, huh?
Yeah.
What took you out?
I'll tell you right now. There's a. While I was there, I finished the rehab, and I finished the program. Oh, man, dude. I finished the program, and while I was there, I ended up meeting a girl, which I could probably write a book about this relationship, and I didn't know how to live life.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about living. All I knew how to do was fucking get loaded. And after treatment, I met a girl who came through the Rock Center about a month before me, and she took a liking to me, and we ended up getting in a relationship after she finished the treatment center. She taught me how to live, make money, work,
Mhm.
and she's my first love, Now, what took me out, I was dry. I ended up getting dry. And it was like, I remember that we moved from Orange County together to LA because she was chasing a job. And we were like this little power couple, you know what I mean? But we were living in LA together, renting a room, and I remember one day she had a toothache. Now, she had a toothache. My fucking bright ass convinced her that if we drink whiskey, your tooth will feel better.
Mhm.
So finally, because we were both sober, and I convinced her that if she could have a shot of whiskey, her tooth would be better, and the next morning we'll go to the dentist and get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Now, it just so happened that was the day I got off probation. I remember it was December 18th, 2012. That night, we drank together. The next day I woke up to a phone call. My PO called me and said, "You're no longer on probation, congratulations." Now it's funny because probation's impossible to beat, no? I did everything right up until that day.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, what took me out was being dry.
Yeah.
And, you know, living in LA, I found myself, wherever you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started drinking then, I didn't stop. She held it together. She held it together really well.
Really?
Extremely well. And I was just a train wreck. And I would drink and go to work, and then I'd do drugs at work, and I'd come home and sleep. And I kind of hid it as much as I could from her. And eventually it got to a point to where I couldn't hide it anymore. And as much as I was doing it, and I got sober again in LA, and in West Hollywood, I started going to meetings out there, and we moved back from LA to Orange County, and then I had relapsed again, and I was a chronic relapser at this point. You know, I had more sober time than I did time out. Now, I was with her for 5 years or so, a little more. We were living in Garden or Westminster in an apartment, and it was such a fucking blessing to have someone like her in my life that I just kept shitting on it. I always had a crutch, and then like all I could do was just like every time I get right, I'd be good for a certain amount of time. The first time was 22 months sober. Then I drank for like 6, and then I had a year and a half sober, and then I fucked up for like 5 months, or 5 months sober, and then it came down to her telling me, it's me and our life or drugs. And I fucking walked out. And I hit the street, and I was so depressed and caught up in this lifestyle that I couldn't stop living. I was miserable, and that last run really, 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 really fucked me up.
Yeah.
This time I was shooting a lot of meth and heroin. I didn't know how to stop. I really didn't know how to stop. I don't know what they put in the meth these days, but it made me crazy. I hadn't been in serious trouble for a long time.
Yeah.
I was on the street for like 7 months before I got right, but in that time I got a DUI. I crashed my truck and got a DUI. So I was living out of my truck. Then I lost my home after I crashed it because it got impounded. And I kind of like walked the streets for a while, and I was miserable, motel hopping and staying on couches. And I had my friends. Nobody wanted me.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Been there.
Nobody wanted me. I show up to my friend's house at 4 in the morning while they were sleeping, and I'd go inside and fall asleep on their couch, and I wake up to 4 dudes surrounding me. What the fuck are you doing here? Mind you, these aren't guys that are sober.
Yeah.
These are guys that just, they love me, but they didn't want me around.
Yeah.
And they told me to kick rocks, and that really hurt.
Yeah.
And I was at a point to where like my life was just so bad. It was like me, a backpack, like a duffel bag with clothes, and that was it, dude. And I did a lot of walking, and my feet hurt. My feet really hurt, and my head hurt. I was so malnourished that I would like walk down the street, and it was like somebody would turn off a light switch. My eyes would flutter, and I could feel it, and I'd collapse. and I like just everything would go black, and I'd fall over, and then I'd wake up, and I'd keep going. Like literally, somebody turned me off, short circuit. I think it was dehydration.
Yeah. Shut down.
Just my body was shutting down. That girl that I was, in love with, always answered her phone.
Yeah. No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Crazy. It was crazy. She always answered her phone. I couldn't believe it. 3 a.m, I'm sitting on a curb crying because I'm some poor sob, just can't get the needle out of my arm.
Yeah. And how often would you call her?
For 1 month, I remember I had relapsed, and when I left and I got drunk and I did 1 shot of meth, and I guess a whole month went by. This was my fiance. I didn't call her. I don't remember. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember that whole month?
No.
A blur.
Yeah. I don't remember it at all.
She does.
I kinda... Oh yeah, she probably does. And I was so far gone, dude. I didn't care about anything else but getting high and just destroying myself.
Yeah.
Now, after being out there for however long I was, it was a good 7 months, and I was done, dude. I was so fucking wrapped up in shooting meth and heroin that I finally picked up the phone and called her and told her, look, I need help, dude. I need help. I'm done. I was having like paranormal experiences and ghosts, and my life was miserable, dude. And she told me that she'd help, and I had got some insurance booted, and next thing you know, I was on a fucking airplane to Vegas, and I went to treatment. And that was September 9th, 2016. I did my last shot, getting off the freeway at John Wayne. Threw my rig in the Ivy. My friend fucking brought me to the airport. And I had a hole going through the inside of from my cheek into my mouth. I think it was on this side anyway. I had like staph in my face, my leg was swollen, I could barely walk. And she had met me like the day before I left, and her and her girlfriend came down, and I remember we went to the Walgreens, and she fucking bought me all this fucking candy and king size everything, dude.
Yeah.
I was stoked. I had so much candy to kick with, dude.
Yeah.
And I got on the airplane and flew to Vegas, and I barely stayed at this treatment center, and it was a dual diagnosis facility. Now, while I was there, all the meth I was doing was like super heavy, dude, and that shit made me really fucked up, and I had demons. And it was like day 2, I'm laying in this bed, and with all the detox meds, finally I get to a medical detox, you know.
Yeah.
This is like not low bottom.
Yeah.
You know, this is a facility where there's doctors, there's nurses, and
It's high end.
it was high end. And you know what? It was like everything about rehab I despised, but it's what I needed.
You weren't used to it.
No, I wasn't used to it.
You're used to the grinding.
I'm used to kicking on the concrete.
Yeah.
And there was a demon that entered my body while I was there, dude. I could feel its presence, and it was like cruising around the floor of my bed, and like I was like laying there, and I was like, and it's just, Jonny, and I could see it, dude. And I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? And it fucking jumped up on top of me, dude, pried my mouth open. And it was like jerking my head left to right, left to right, left to right. And I swear this motherfucker went inside my body, dude. And it was so dark and demonic. It was probably one of the gnarliest kicks I've ever had in my life. And like the whole time while I was at this facility, we'd go to group, and like I told them, I'm like, dude, I got possessed. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'd be like, something's following me around, and everywhere I go, it's telling me I'm gonna die. And they put me on all kinds of psych meds and shit. And yeah, maybe I needed it, maybe I didn't. And it was crazy, dude. I went from this treatment center in Vegas to an IOP. My good friend fucking was working in IOP outpatient in San Clemente, and I got home, you know, or I went there for another month, and I couldn't wait to come back to fucking to North OC to live my life, and I realized that my life wasn't waiting for me anymore. I fucked it all off, and through that time, like really, like I went to barber school, and thank God I got a barber's license, because I don't know what I'd be doing today if I wasn't cutting hair.
When did you go through, were you going to school while you were loaded?
I relapsed at school.
You did?
Yeah. When I was in barber school, I started barber school sober, you know.
Yeah.
And it's one of my relapses was at barber school. And I you know, I'm at a barber school with all these little fucking kids, dude, and like they're all smoking weed and shit. And I thought I could smoke weed.
Yeah.
I tried smoking weed, and I smoked weed for a little while, but somebody at school, this guy had Roxy's, and I found out that he had Roxy's, and I told him, I'm like, hey, you know, let me get some, and he fucking sold me Roxy's for $5 a pill.
Yeah.
And I was like, off and running, you know? And I finished school. I finished barber school. I wouldn't say barely, it was easy. I just went there, clocked in, left, went to the gym, and did my thing. But I mean, I got strung out too, but